I guess it made our vocabulary a bit easier, having worked together in the past doing Superior Donuts over, well, here and then in New York.
Yeah.
And having an opportunity to do 2 productions of that, you know, gave us kind of a common vocabulary, I guess.
You know, my character in this, in both acts, says some pretty dicey things and some pretty ignorant things and some pretty mean things, really. And it always helps when you're sort of surrounded by not only anyone you've worked with before, but people you trust and people that you look up to and have had experiences before with.
If Mrs. Stoller here were to send you to shop at Gelman's, do you find when you're standing in the aisles at Gelman's, does it generally strike you as the kind of market where you could find the particular foods your family enjoys?
It's a very nice store.
What if we were to say this?
Mr. Gelman's a nice man.
But I mean your preferred food items. Would such things even be available at Gelman's?
Do they carry collards and pig feet? I sure put shot no wings and no pig feet.
There have been the occasional show where I'm on stage listening to you talk in the kind of the property values, and one family moves and another family moves, and so on and so on, towards the end of that act. And I'm sitting there and I'm fighting the urge to let the audience know how pissed this character is. But back then, it would be very easy for him to hide that because he's used to hiding it. You know, he's used to, you know, Albert would be used to keeping those emotions at bay. And yet, I almost want to send it's almost like you unconsciously want to send a wink to the audience to say, look, I know that we're hearing some crazy jacked up junk right now, and you know, I'm ready to work them.
What was harder for me and scarier for me, and is scarier for me, especially working on it, is asking the question, is how much of Steve is me? You know, I'd really dig down and try to get honest and say, am I like this guy at all? How much of what he says do I believe? It's easy to look at him and just say he's a fucking asshole and he's an idiot and he talks too much, but the parts of me where I have to say, okay, I got to find out, I can't think that about him, so that's going to mean that I really have to ask myself what I believe of his and then what I can fight for, because Steve's all opinions. You know, he doesn't really have a through line other than to just say, hey, I'm going to be the guy who says what we're all saying. So that means me as an actor has to say, well, what is Steve saying that I can at least try to latch onto?
Okay, if you really want to, it's race, isn't it? You're trying to tell me that implicit in what you said, that this entire conversation isn't at least partly informed, am I right? By the issue of racism?
Are you out
And
of
please
your...
don't
I
do that
have
to
no
me, okay?
idea
I've asked
where
you
this is coming
repeatedly.
from.
The original issue was the inappropriately large house that you're planning to build.
on!
Only now, I'm fairly certain that I've been called a racist.
But I didn't say that, did I?
It sounded like you did.
Did I say that?
Yeah, you kind of did.
The reactions to this show in post shows, and also I'll probably during the show with the reactions, the laughs that we get and sometimes don't get, I think is directly related to how diverse the audience is. If you have an audience that is all maybe one specific background or a common background, they're going to laugh at a lot of the same things and not feel the need to look around and see who's listening or laughing or if it's appropriate or not. But if you've got an audience with a lot of different backgrounds, culturally, racial, all that, those can be some very silent audiences. Unless you hear, you know, some people laugh and then other people look at them and say, oh, well, they laughed, okay, so it's okay for me to laugh. You know, it's I don't think I've ever been in a show where it has been night to night, where the audience reaction, the laughs, the gasps, the tisk-tisks have been so different